we have arrived. Book 2 of Red Rising Golden Sun vlog is here. Ever since I finished book 1 of Red Rising, I have been foaming at the mouth to start book 2. So today we're gonna crack the first page. This video is going to contain spoilers for Golden Sun, so if you're like me and you have not read it yet, be mindful of that. I'm going in completely dark, no spoilers, just like book 1, only the mission to find out if this series lives up to its legacy or if it's all hype. All right, let's get into it. What's going on, y'all? This is Blake from the future. I just want to let you guys know that we have a Discord now. So the Discord link will be down in the description if you want to come talk about books, book collecting, book recommendations. Go ahead and join the Discord. Also, I wanted to say that all of the artwork that I feature in this video is by Cookies and Milk. I'm going to put the link to the Instagram right here. Thank you very much for approving the art. I love it very much. And yeah, go check them out. Okay, bye. All right, so checking back in, I have just finished chapter 4. So I'm now on chapter 5, Abandon, and right off the bat, I am hooked once again. Now I know I'm just getting started, but this is kind of what I was waiting for in terms of the scope, the more sci-fi aspect of Red Rising. I love how we started off basically on board a massive starship with Darrow at the head, finally getting some like real big sci-fi vibes. The trap with Karnus was crazy. When Darrow was going in to basically wipe out Karnus, I figured it was going to be too easy. I mean, after book 1, I know now that Pierce Brown is a master of twists and expect the unexpected. So I was kind of expecting it to not quite go as planned, but I did not know it was going to all go to hell quite like it did. The imagery of Karnus's other ship that was in hiding, tearing through Darrow's flagship was awesome. And the scene where the Greys escort him to his pod, but there's not enough seats left, was just so good. I mean, so I just finished chapter 4, and what a switch. I mean, the end of book 1, Nero Augustus takes Darrow under his wing. Darrow is essentially this golden child who has achieved something that no other student at the Institute has ever achieved, and in my opinion, he was kind of like a celebrity already. Fast forward to book 2, Darrow has already fallen from grace. I mean, that was so fast. It was like getting whiplash from just how quickly he was at the top and now he's at the bottom. I get the feeling, and I hope I'm right, that we get to see more of the Sons of Ares in this book. After Darrow went to the Institute, that was pretty much it. We didn't hear from the Sons of Ares at all while he was in the Institute, other than him finding out that Titus was a Red, but we haven't really heard from Dancer or Mickey or anything like that. And most importantly, what's missing so far is Severo. I'm pretty sure his name was mentioned, but I think he's like far off in Pluto or something like that. So I really hope that he comes back. Maybe not in this book, but just in general in the series, he comes back at some point. Okay, we are back. So I just hit chapter 10, ba-boom. Just like in the first vlog, when I start recording, I don't know where to start. There's just so much that happens in this book that I try to take notes, kind of recap on everything, but there's just so many like moments and twists and turns and like holy hell moments that it's just hard for me to keep up and stay articulate with my recaps, basically. You know, I want to record every live reaction, but if I did that, it would just be like 1,000 clips that I would have to edit, and I feel like it would just not work out very well. Let's get to the first big moment. Chapter 8, Scepter and Sword. I did not know we were gonna meet the Jackal again so quickly, which I'm happy about, because honestly, that was my biggest, very small gripe about book 1 was the final act. I mean, it was really good, don't get me wrong. But I feel like we had a big build up to the Jackal and like who he was, how evil of a character he was. We meet him for a little bit. He kills Pax, unfortunately, which is a major, you know, moment. But then he kind of just disappears. You know, Mustang kind of captures him. We find out Mustang is his sister, and then that's it. He's kind of just captured, and that's it. I think his whole kind of underground slumlord aesthetic really fits him. Darrow and the Jackal are very different, but kind of the same in a lot of ways. So them forming an alliance was unexpected, but also a little expected. I feel like book 1 and book 2, maybe more in book 2, because I feel like book 2 is going to flesh out more of the politics, the different families and stuff like that. I feel like this series is going to contain a lot of enemies to friends and friends to enemies, character arcs and story arcs. So it just makes sense that Jackal and Darrow are having an alliance. But that being said, the end of chapter 8 into chapter 9, when Evie shows up again. How cool. I mean, we haven't seen really any Sons of Ares until the beginning of book 1. I thought that Darrow was gonna meet Evie. Evie basically, shows that she's gonna assassinate the Jackal. And I thought maybe Darrow might help her, but I should have known not to expect that because you never know what to expect with this series. So him blasting down back to the Jackal and grab boots to rescue him from this like crazy bomb was a really cool scene. Ares' voice, Reap What You Sow, playing on like all of these TVs and speakers was just a really cool image. And it would have been a great assassination had Darrow not stopped it. Chapter 9, Darrow goes to meet with the Sons of Ares and we get to see Mickey again. So I actually really like Mickey as a character. He's not the nicest guy, but I like how he is, really is a friend to Darrow, maybe in kind of an obsessive creator kind of way. Harmony is mistreating Mickey. Kind of hard to feel bad for Mickey, so he's kind of getting what he deserves, but on the flip side, I do like Mickey as a character. Also, Harmony seems like she has like lost it, so she's, I guess, bombing all of these places. And now Evie is like Gorilla for the Sons of Ares, so she's definitely switched in terms of like who she was as a character. Dancer being dead, I mean, I don't know if that's true. I feel like we would have heard Dancer die or like seen Dancer die in a scene because I feel like he was a very important character. Let's talk about the biggest twist so far. Finding out that Ao was pregnant was huge. I mean, wow. And I remember in book 1 that Ao's sister whispered something into her ear prior to her being hanged, and we never really knew what it was. It was predictable, but not predictable in the same way. I mean, I feel like the I'm pregnant trope is just so commonly used. I mean, it just happens all the time, right? So it definitely stinks. Feel bad for Darrow. Of course, I just feel bad for Darrow constantly in this series. I'm about to start chapter 10, Broken. The first 2 words are I break. I know this is probably going to be a pretty heavy chapter. I'm really enjoying this so far, so stay tuned. Right now, the weather is just like perfect. It's 78 degrees out here. It feels so nice, especially because I know what's coming, the hell that is Florida summer, especially Central Florida summer. So just want to let you guys know that the weather is so nice right now and I'm enjoying every second of it. Part 1 done. There we go. We just hit part 2. Darrow is apparently a bummer now and will do anything that the Sons of Ares want him to do after finding out that Ao was pregnant. Understandable, right? I feel like the shift from Darrow being a gold to a red to a gold to a red is very prominent, and I think it's gonna like drive him crazy later on in the series. I mean, right now he's all on board as being a red. I feel like Roke is currently like the only friend that Darrow has. I'm not sure why Roke is the way he is, but he seems like the only genuine gold in the story, and I really hope it's not all an act, because a lot of things in this story are they're just not what they seem, right? On the flip side, Darrow tranquilizing Roke was not expected. So it's cool that Darrow thinks of Roke enough as a friend to save his life from whatever's going to happen at the gala. But on the flip side, now it's like too late. You know what I mean? So I think whatever happens at the gala, Darrow's going to have to explain to Roke why he did what he did. Now, obviously, Darrow is not going to blow himself up at the gala because then the story would be over. But that being said, I think this gala is going to be a crazy scene. It's just so much build up to this event. God only knows what's going to happen at this gala. I'm glad that Roke is not going to be there to possibly die, because that would be really tragic. If I had to make a prediction, I think that Darrow is going to consider going through with the bombing, but I think when he sees Mustang, because I think Mustang's going to be there, I think he's going to change his mind. I think he's going to see Mustang and he just can't bring himself to hurt her, so he's probably going to not go through with the bombing. But that being said, I don't know what's going to happen instead, right? Now, on the side note, I'm trying to predict who is actually a son of Ares. I just have the feeling that one of these golds is not what they claim to be, and all these golds act so strangely that it could be any of them. It could be Could be Tactus, could be the Jackal, could be Victra, could be Mustang. I mean, who knows? I've been trying to figure out who Ares himself is. I think it's Lorne Al Arcos. We haven't actually met him because he's kind of this mysterious figure that everybody talks about, but we haven't really seen him. I don't know, I'm trying to figure out who's a double agent on the gold side. I'm prepping for something major at the gala. Something big's gonna happen there. I just know it. So I guess we'll find out. Part 2. Peace. Holy I knew the gala was going to be something crazy. I just knew something crazy was going to happen. Lots of build up. The depiction of the gala is very cool. I keep having to remind myself that everybody here is blonde or golden haired, right? So, I mean, I think, but I keep like reimagining these scenes and I have to remind myself that everybody in the scene has gold hair and gold eyes to some extent. I know there's like different shades, but you know, whatever. The conversation with Karnus was really good. Karnus was obviously trying to get Darrow's blood rising by mentioning Mustang and Cassius and all this stuff. I figured that Mustang is gonna be at the gala. I wasn't really sure that she was gonna be with Cassius, but I mean, it makes sense. It's a great dramatic point. Now, blood for blood. So the second I read that title, I knew that Cassius was going to be in it somehow. I did not know that Darrow and Cassius were going to duel. You know, it's funny, when he was going in with the plan of dueling Cassius, when I could see that that's what was going to happen, my first thought was, dude, Cassius beat the hell out of you last time, like with no problems. What is going to be different now? I thought he had some kind of plan in his pocket or something, or someone was going to help him. But then we got the reveal that he had been training with Lorne. Not sure how I feel about that quite yet. He takes Cassius's sword arm, basically beats him until he's like barely alive. Just the chaos that the gala just devolves into was insane. All the families just like fighting, the Bolognas and the Augustans, and like the imagery with Cassius's mom and the Sovereign and Cassius's dad, like it's just so good. Moving on, after the duel, Leto dies. He just dies. Like the Jackal, like I guess stuns him, which I didn't quite realize at first, but then it kind of alludes to it. Where he's like putting away something in like a stylus or something, like a pen. I wanted him to fight so bad. He seemed cool, you know what I mean? He has like a rainbow sword, which is kind of sick. And then he just died. He basically gets stunned and immediately killed. And I was a little disappointed. Like Leto was this character who was like the right hand of Augustus and was like his new favorite son, apparently the best at the razor between all the Augustans, and he just dies like in one paragraph. Augustus and Darrow and them fleeing from the gala, all the fighting, them seeing the Thorne family get killed. It's cool that we're getting some hints that the Sovereign is kind of like power hungry. Finally get to see the Sovereign as a character. In book 1, we kind of just, I think we saw her on like, you know, screens and stuff like that, but we didn't really get to know her at all. Fitchner is the Rage Knight. I did not know he was like a beast like that, because I thought the Rage Knight was like the best martial artist, I guess, you know, like the best with the sword, the best at fighting. And I did not know Finchner was that, because didn't Darrow beat the snot out of Finchner during the Institute phase? I don't know. But I did laugh when Fitchner called the Jackal creepy and then immediately stunned him. I laughed out loud at that, I'm not gonna lie. Man, there's just no breaks in this book. From, you know, one second they're fleeing the gala, Darrow goes with Fitchner to meet the Sovereign. The Sovereign's kind of offering him a position. We're kind of in a little bit of a rest phase. And then we have this like, if you lie, you die kind of game. This book is already better than the first one. It's just more my style. Thank you to everybody that voted for the Red Rising series in the first place, because without y'all, I would not be here. But I'll see you guys in a little bit. Okay, real quick, I'm about to go get a workout in, but Severo is back, baby. We are back in the game, and what an entrance, man. Severo and the Howlers coming down, and I guess the rain and the lightning, and just they're all wearing the black with the pelts, the wolf pelts. Man, what an entrance. I did not know we were gonna see him this early. Honestly, I thought that Darrow was gonna be with the Sovereign for a while, and he's just gonna be in this, I guess, like this penthouse and kind of decide what to do, and maybe he's gonna switch to her side temporarily. But I'm telling you, this book has no breaks. There's no breaks in this series. You might get a little breather and then it just right back into it. When does Darrow sleep? I guess, like when does this man sleep? Because I feel like he's just constantly doing something. Severo is back. I can't believe it. I'm so happy about that. Basically them coming back into the Augustin house was really cool. I mean, tragic, like them finding kind of dead Augustins throughout. Some girl was running to the gardens being chased. It's insane. People die so fast in this series. And when Severo and the Howlers came in, they said that he had a bag, but I didn't know that it was going to be a person inside. So Lysander being inside was insane. Like only Severo would just go kidnap the Sovereign's grandson. Like, that's crazy. Using him as a bargaining piece or a hostage to get off the planet was a great idea. But Aja, I mean, wow. We haven't really seen her fight yet, but in like a split second, she comes, grabs Quinn, and just beats her head multiple times, and now she's like having seizures. Like, come on, man. Poor Roke. I mean, I don't know if Quinn's gonna die. Honestly, she might not die, because this is kind of the first time where I feel like people are actually trying to save somebody that's injured. Normally, they're just like, they're dead, that's it. Tactus, I think, is the one trying to save her by basically performing like an emergency decompressive craniotomy, so to relieve the pressure on her brain by opening a hole in her skull. I didn't know that he knew how to do that, but he says that without a yellow, I think that she's probably gonna die, but this is like the first time where there's like a possibility that somebody might live. So maybe she lives, maybe she lives. I don't know, hope she does, obviously. I know Quinn is kind of a nice character among like the other characters. Roke is in love with her. I think Severo is as well. So for my man Severo's sake, I hope that she does not die, even though I'm pretty sure she's in love with Quinn, or I'm pretty sure she's in love with Roke. So we're gonna stop there. I'm gonna go get a workout in, but we're just gonna keep going. We're gonna keep going. All right, gym session complete. I gotta go run a couple errands. I actually have another book to go pick up at my P.O. box that another author sent me, which is awesome. I can't believe that I'm just getting books from people. It's insane. So I gotta pick up some food too, and then head back home, cook some dinner, and then I will see you guys hopefully later tonight. So I'll check in later. What's going on, y'all? I am waiting in the car for my wife to get out of Marshall's. I'm sure many of you guys have been in this kind of situation. Who knows when she's going to return, but afterwards we are going to go to Barnes & Noble, I think. I wanted to go to a cool bookstore, like a used bookstore that I've been hearing about, but it's too early and they are not open. So we're gonna hit a Barnes & Noble. For sure want to find Operation Bounce House by Matt Dinniman, and we'll kind of see how it goes. But I did want to catch up a little bit on where I am with this book, this beautiful book right here. We just hit chapter 22, Fire Blossom. Cool name again. Some really cool chapter names with this series. First up, let's talk about Tactus. I can't get a read on Tactus. I feel like Darrow can't get a read on him either. At one point he's a friend, and then now he has stolen Lysander away, and I'm assuming brought her back, or brought him back to the Sovereign for kind of pay or honor or something like that. At some point I feel like he's really on board with Darrow, and then other points I feel like he's just doing stuff for his own gain. But let's talk about probably the coolest moment between book 1 and book 2 so far. Darrow and Severo launching themselves from their ship through the Vanguard's bridge glass was sick. That was probably my favorite scene, favorite chapter of both books so far. I mentioned this earlier in one of my other recordings that I'm really happy that like we are in full sci-fi mode now. That scene really reminded me of Expanse when they put the suits on and like in space, and I can just feel like the blackness of space, and just the scene of them busting through the glass was just so cool. Like, what a cool scene. And then them taking over the ship and basically inciting a civil war within the ship with all the blues and oranges and browns against the golds. Like, that's so cool. I said in my first Red Rising vlog, book 1, that I think Darrow's army is going to consist of like all the colors, because obviously he is a red at heart, not really a gold. So I think that he is ultimately gonna kind of combine everybody into like one army, I guess. And it was really cool to finally see a little bit more of the other colors rather than just them being in the background. Like he's talking to these blues and they actually have like dialogue, you know what I mean? Orion, I guess, is this girl's name who is now the leader of the Vanguard, like kind of a badass character for a blue, kind of like not like your usual blue. So it was really cool to see like them talk and have personalities. And we also met Ragnar, a Stained, who seems like a badass. He kind of reminds me of like a new Pax, but like quieter. So I think that's really cool. I think Ragnar's gonna have some badass moments. I think that's just coming. He just kind of has to. I mean, with a character like that. Finally, on a sad note, Quinn has passed. I thought that she was gonna live. I said that she was like the first character that was given like a chance at living. Everyone else that dies just kind of like, they're dead. I thought she was gonna live. She didn't. Feel bad for Roke, but I mostly feel bad for Severo because that's my boy. The shower scene, like I know there's a big twist and we're gonna talk about that, but the shower scene of Severo just sitting in the shower and Darrow sitting next to him, like makes me feel like they're brothers, you know, like they're really friends. Severo and Roke right now feel like the only real characters in the series. You know, obviously there's lots of twists and turns and a lot of you never know who to trust in this series, and I just hope that there's like one or two characters that are like 100% trustworthy. That being said, Severo knows that Darrow is a red. I was worried that the moment that Severo found out, maybe he was going to find out accidentally later on in the book, maybe even book 3, and then Severo was going to be like, screw you, I'm out of here, you lied to me, we're not friends anymore. I was really hoping that that was not going to happen. So Severo kind of being cool with it kind of fits into his character of like, you know, he's kind of small for a gold and he doesn't really like the other golds and he's not like the other golds. I'm really happy that Severo's on board and I can only imagine where this is going to go with Severo and Darrow. Please, Pierce Brown, keep Severo pure, you know what I mean? His pure little wolf boy. So that's where we are now. Have the day off kind of. So I'm hoping to do a ton of reading. It's taking longer than I thought, y'all. I'm sorry. It's got so much going on. Kids and work, and I'm in a master's program. So I mean, I just get like almost no time to do these videos and record and edit, but I really love doing it. So it's like all I think about now all day long, but we're trying, we're doing our best. So appreciate y'all staying with me this far into the video. I know the book 1 was pretty long, but I think it worked out because it ended up being my best video so far. So I'm actually just kind of digging. I really like this vlogging process. So whenever my wife decides to exit Marshall's, which could be in 3 days from now, we are going to go book shopping and I will catch you all in a little bit. Okay, so I'm sitting here on a beautiful lake. If I see an alligator or something, maybe I'll try to catch it on film, but we'll see. This book is just getting better and better. This is where I feel like we're finally seeing the rest of the solar system, the rest of society, all the different colors. I mean, we're finally getting to talk to other colors, which I don't know if Brown did that specifically because they were kind of just nameless, faceless humans, I guess, which kind of lends to the whole you know, golds are above everybody. Everybody else is just kind of playing a part in the system, a cog in the machine, if you will. We finally got to meet Lorne. Lorne is pretty much as I expected. He's kind of that grizzled, retired, like legendary warrior, right? Who's had a crazy career, has never been beaten. At least I don't think he's been beaten. He reminds me of Dalinar from Stormlight Archives, the Blackthorn. He gives me that kind of similar vibe of just being an older, very heavily respected man who's just crazy in combat, right? Now, I feel bad for Lorne because he just wants to live in peace and be with his grandchildren and just kind of put all that killing and war behind him. And I'm a little mad at Darrow, but I understand, but like Darrow bringing Lorne back in, basically forcing him. Basically it's him or the Sovereign, and either way, he's gonna have to leave his planet, and now his whole family is like at risk. It's crazy. With that being said, the trap that Darrow set when he was walking with Lorne into, I guess, kind of like a garden area where Icarus the Griffin is, which is insane. There's like a freaking griffin. But when Darrow was dropping the spikes in the garden, I thought it was for Lorne, and I'm like, come on, Darrow, don't be that guy. You know what I mean? Don't do your mentor like this. But the trap with the spikes, and like they knew that Aja was coming, and like, very cool. When that went off, I was like, oh, the spikes, okay. Because I kind of forgot about the spikes when the conversation between Lorne and Darrow was getting really tense, you know what I mean? When he basically activated the spikes and it blew up the obsidians and stuff like that. That was with Tactus and Aja. Speaking of Tactus, in book 1, the scene where Julian dies after Darrow has to kill him and he's like cradling him was a crazy, impactful scene for me. And I still think about that scene. I think the scene with Tactus hit just as hard, if not harder. My heart was pounding when he was standing there in the room full of the kids, and I'm like, please, Tactus, please don't hurt those kids. Like, you're better than this. Like, I felt so bad for him, but my heart was like, do-do, 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 do-do. When he drops the razor and him and Darrow hug, my heart was finally like, oh, thank goodness. And then Lorne just kills him with like 4 stabs to the armpit, just like that. Like, I knew a character like Tactus was not going to live for long. Didn't know if he was going to die in Golden Sun. I thought maybe he would kind of sacrifice himself, maybe later in Golden Sun, kind of like redeem his honor a little bit to help Darrow survive, or one of Darrow's friends or something. Man, Lorne just putting him down like a dog was crazy and sad. I mean, I just keep thinking, like, who is Ares? I think I mentioned in one of my previous recordings, there's so many now, man, these reading vlogs are tough. Like, trying to keep up with everything and make sure that all the videos line up and everything, and try to film in interesting locations. I don't know, maybe I'm thinking about it too much, but in one of my last recordings, I mentioned that I think that Ares is either not real or he's a gold. I think he's a gold somewhere at the top. For a while, I thought it was Lorne, and it still could be, I guess, but I don't think, since he's trying to be a man of peace, I really don't think that it's Lorne anymore, but I think that Ares is a gold somewhere. The jelly beans, just like a random thought, the jelly beans crack me up. Kavix and his fox, and just like constantly feeding the jelly beans, and Kavix is just like this big teddy bear, just like Pax, just hilarious. Now, I wonder, like, if that ties into Brown's like personal life. Maybe he loves jelly beans, or he has a dog that likes jelly beans. I feel like that's a very like particular thing. But I will say that in this book, there are more moments of like lightheartedness and laughter that I'm really happy about, because I get that the series is very grim, dark, and fast-paced and brutal. But when it's just like constant and there's no breaks at all, you get kind of burned out, I think. Like, if you were to take all the funny moments in the little breathing rooms and stuff like that, I feel like I might get burned out on this series, because it's just constant, like, fight, someone dies, a traitor, fight, someone dies, another traitor, fight, someone dies, you know what I mean? That's one of the things that burned me out on Game of Thrones. I feel like Game of Thrones, the show at least, was just like shock writing, and just like, oh, someone else is dead. Oh, your favorite character, you like that guy? He's dead too. Oh, suspense, you know what I mean? I just got tired of it. That's why I stopped watching. But this is not like that. We're getting just enough breathing room, a little bit of jokes, lightheartedness. For example, with Severo and Pliny's eyeball, when he like, it's like, can I have that? Like, that's just so funny. Like, that's such a Severo thing, and it just gets better and better. I love this character. The chapter with Darrow and Mustang, like, just kiss her, bro. Come on, just kiss Mustang. Just accept that you love her. Like, she's your perfect match. She's intelligent, she's fierce. Like, she's the only one that you're gonna be with, right? I understand that he's guilty over AO. I totally get that. But when he let her walk out, I was like, ah, you idiot. Why would you do that? But I don't know. Final part of this recording. Finally get mention of the Iron Rain that I've heard so much about. Not spoiler details. No one has told me exactly what it is, but I can take a guess. So I'm really stoked. I just want to keep reading and get into the Iron Rain, the attack on Mars to rescue Augustus. Well, I think the Iron Rain is kind of like if we have any 40K fans out there, like drop pods, you know what I mean? Like drop pods coming from space, landing on the planet. Yeah, I think it's gonna be insane and chaotic, and I just can't wait. So that's where we're gonna leave it off for now. Maybe we can do some reading out here. It's nice, you know, I can hear the birds. I don't know if you guys can hear them, but it just sounds so nice out here. So, all right, we will catch you guys in the next one, and we are closing in on the final act of this book. I'll catch you guys later. What's going on, y'all? It's a new day. I think today's going to be the last day of the vlog. I just hit part 4, and the Iron Rain was just as good and chaotic as I was expecting. It was just pure chaos, pure adrenaline, pure just raw energy. It was really good. But I love the scene where he's inside the tube, the spit tubes, and he's just waiting to be launched out of the spaceship. And I like that Brown really shows Darrow has like true fear, you know what I mean? He's not just like this perfect guy who just doesn't fear anything, you know? I mean, I can't even imagine being in a situation like that where you're just waiting to be launched at, I don't even know what kind of speed, but straight out of a starship towards a planet, and there's just fighting and missiles and bullets flying everywhere. I can't even imagine. But I really like the touch of Darrow and Severo and Victra and Mustang and Roke talking while they're in the tubes, like over the intercom. And it was like a nice little lighthearted moment and made me laugh. That Severo was going to come out and bite Roke. I think that was funny. It was a nice little touch. But I really love how fast and chaotic and sci-fi the Iron Rain is, and basically the siege of Mars. So we just finished the siege of Mars. The use of the drones and the trackers and the grab boots, how they're kind of skipping along, and everything's just so fast and like reactive. Which he even talks about in the book. It's just reactive. And I mean, I don't think they're going to kill the Sovereign or even capture her, because I feel like if they capture the Sovereign already, you know, what's going to happen? What are they going to fight? So with that being said, I just hit chapter 40 called Mud. And in the scene before the last, where the last chapter ended, the brown girl, the little girl from the Brown cast is holding an EMP globe. And basically it was a trap, and they were waiting for Darrow and his group to come out of the waterway. Moments before these like big chapters, I mean, Mud, I mean, I know that something terrible is about to happen. And there's these chapters that make me nervous because I know someone's going to die. Someone that Darrow cares about or the reader cares about is going to die. You just know that that's coming. So I always get a little like anxious before starting these chapters, so we'll see. But we are for sure going to finish this book today. My wife and I are about to head into a cool bookstore across town that My wife and I are about to head into a cool bookstore that was across town that we've been wanting to go to, so we'll see some of that, and I'll catch you guys in a little bit. Here's my wife's fingers again. Still not ready to be on camera. Okay, bye. Okay, we have read a lot today. It's like 3:30, we left the house at like 9 a.m. So yeah, we've been out of the house all day. She's very nice and offered to drive so I could read this crazy book all day long. So thank you very much, I appreciate it. We just hit chapter 46, page 388. So we are approaching the end. I think this is like 440 something pages long, so we only have like 50 pages left, which has me very nervous. I've heard that the ending of this book is crazy. I promise I have not heard any details about what it is. I have no idea, but I know it's coming. So I'm a little nervous. Okay, so we left off after the Iron Rain earlier today. The girl holding the EMP bomb goes off. Darrow and all of his like bodyguards and everything just kind of fall into the water. I thought that when he got his razor out that he was gonna cut off his own arm, and I was like, man, because it's been mentioned a couple times, like sling blade used to cut off your arm or something like that to save the body. I can't remember exactly the quote, but I thought that this was the scene of where he is gonna lose an arm because he's gonna cut it off to get out, but he didn't. He kind of carved his way out of his suit, which is really cool. But I'm glad he didn't lose an arm. Man, the Howlers have just had it tough. Harpy died on the descent in the Iron Rain, just like that. She just boop, out of existence, she's dead. Weed is now dead, Rotback is dead, and then I guess a lot of the new recruits are also dead. So like, man, the Howlers are just ticking down, man. And Severo, my man Severo, I just feel so bad for him. He just keeps losing all his friends. But Ragnar, when he kills that gold and the gold calls him a dog and Ragnar just goes, I am a man, like that just, I like cheered in the car. I was like, yeah, that's right. Finchner is Ares. What? I knew that Ares was a gold. I either said that Ares wasn't real or he was a gold. When I first started book 1 and then I heard about Sons of Ares and all that stuff, I actually thought that Ares was the sovereign. I know that probably sounds crazy to y'all that have read the book, and now to me it sounds crazy because the sovereign is like a big enemy now. I thought the sovereign was Ares. I especially thought that because someone in book 1, I think it's actually book 2, in the early parts of book 2, someone had said, you know, what if Ares isn't a man? And I thought that was like a hint of like, okay, well maybe Ares is a female. And then I was thinking of like all the female characters, and for some reason I just stuck on the sovereign, and then obviously, you know, that didn't happen. But Finchner, what? I guess it makes sense because it's someone that's been with Darrow kind of from the beginning, maybe not like directly next to him at all times, but like has been present throughout Darrow's story. Like he was there at the Institute. You could tell he kind of cared about Darrow. But man, Finchner, when they're on that, I guess, shuttle and they're like heading up, Darrow kills Karnas. He probably doesn't want to kill Severo's best friend because he technically loves his son somewhere on the inside, you know what I mean? But man, he was Ares. And just the scene of like Darrow like on his knees, and then Finchner's rage helm comes down, and like when he realizes that it's Ares, and then he's howling on the way down, like carrying Darrow. Like, wow, that's so badass. That was so badass. Whew. Okay, that was a big reveal. Wow, not who I was expecting. I thought it was gonna be a gold. I just was not expecting Finchner. Finally, Darrow gives in and mans up and decides to give in to Mustang's love. And then another happy moment, I guess, when all the Howlers and everybody are sitting around the table eating, and then there's so much camaraderie and like lighthearted conversation, and then they like smell Darrow come in, and then there's a bunch of hugs and stuff like that. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in this book because it was a happy scene. Now, I knew going into the series that this was not going to be a happy series, right? I knew that it was going to be brutal and don't get attached to anybody because they're going to die and blah, blah, blah. But I enjoyed that. A lot. Okay, prediction. We have heard so many times from so many different characters not to trust the Jackal. The Jackal's father, the Jackal's sister, Darrow's friends, so I know there's something coming. Darrow rescuing the Reds from the Jackal was just way too easy. I mean, yeah, I know it kind of acted it out and they were trying to shoot each other but missed and blah, 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 but the Jackal was way too intelligent to fall for that. And in my opinion, the Jackal was also way too complicit in the way that they got away and was like patting Darrow on the back, like, we'll get them after the Sovereign. Like, that's all bullshit, man. The Jackal, 100,000%. If I'm wrong about this, I'm gonna lose it. He's gonna betray Darrow. something's gonna happen. Darrow, I don't know if it's gonna be in book 2, maybe in book 3. Darrow's gonna keep rising and the Jackal's gonna keep rising in his shadow, and then at some point, the Jackal is gonna take down Darrow and try to take it all for himself. I don't know when, and I don't know how, but it's just gonna happen. I don't think the Jackal's forgotten about the Institute and how badly he was beaten and tied up by his own sister for Darrow. He has not forgotten about that. So it's coming. We are 50 pages left. I gotta go inside and do some stuff in the house, and then I'm going to sit down and I'm gonna finish this book. So today I'm gonna finish, and tomorrow morning I'll do like the outro and the final thoughts and all that in a more like structured setting. But we are gonna finish this book today. I know there's something big coming and it makes me sweat just thinking about it, but we'll get there. So I will see you guys very soon. Wow. What have y'all done to me? I heard that the ending of this book was going to be crazy. People just told me that the end of Golden Sun is what cemented the greatness of the series for them. It's why they continued to read. And now I can understand why. Throughout the vlog, I basically predicted that Jackal was going to do something to Darrow. I saw it coming. There's just so many warnings throughout the series that the Jackal was going to do something. I did not think it was going to be Golden Sun. I mentioned that I thought that Darrow was going to continue to rise and that the Jackal was going to kind of rise in his shadow. And I thought maybe in Morning Star that would kind of, something would come to pass. Wow. Man, Roke. I had a feeling that Roke, I don't know, because they made so many different points about like, he needs to mend that relationship, he needs to mend that relationship, he needs to mend that relationship. And he just kept kind of putting it off. And I thought Roke was gonna maybe leave Darrow's side, but I did not expect him to just total betray Darrow. I don't know. I mean, I get that Roke found out that Darrow is a red. I didn't think that Roke was gonna go just full 180 on, well, I'm a gold, you're a red, so now you die, basically. I thought that maybe their friendship would kind of hold some of that together, but I'm a little disappointed again that Lorne just dies. No fighting, just dies. Same with Leto. I feel like Brown is hyping up these characters about how good they are with the razor, and they're just these crazy skilled warriors, especially Lorne. I mean, like, no one had ever beaten him or whatever. He's like the best razor master ever. People quote him left and right, and then he just dies. No fighting, just dies. And I get that that's supposed to be dramatic, but I'm still not quite sure how I feel about that. Kind of makes me feel like going into the rest of the series, if anyone's skills are like hyped up, I'm just gonna like, whatever. They're just gonna die in one sentence and not fight at all. Then Victra, I actually really liked Victra as a character. I thought she was unique, and you couldn't really tell where her allegiances lie, but she like loves Darrow, and I could tell she was like a good character. You know what I mean? I could tell that she like was on Darrow's side, and she just like, she just gets killed. I mean, I think she gets killed. I don't know if they for sure said Victra is dead, but she gets shot twice in like the spine and is like laying there telling Darrow that she didn't know that any of this was gonna happen. And so sad, man. Victra was a cool character. And now Severo is missing. No idea where Severo is. He just like goes missing and then comes back, goes missing, comes back. I'm gonna assume he's not dead. Severo would not just silently die. I think Severo is such an important character that if he is going to die, which I pray he does not die, he's going to get a scene where we see his death, right? I'm going to assume that he's not dead. You know, and Dancer and Ragnar, I'm going to also assume that they're not dead. I feel like Ragnar would also have a cool death scene if he does die. And then Finchner. Finchner's head being in the box with the grapes, man, oh, dude. I really liked Finchner. Like, I liked that character. And then when I found out he was Ares, I was like, oh, I like him even more. And man, Ares did not last very long, but I have a feeling that somehow Darrow is going to become Ares. Not sure how, because he's currently being poisoned, laying on the ground, and I'm not sure what Aja and Roke and the Jackal are going to do to Darrow now that Nero Augustus is dead and basically like everything just went to hell. Not sure what's going to happen to him, but I guess we'll find out. When Darrow takes Mustang back to the mines, man, I was just sweating in the car. My legs were shaking. I was like, no, dude, what are you doing? He basically gives her the hollow cube and then goes into his old house. And I thought he was going to just stay invisible and just kind of like see his family and leave, but he didn't. And his mom sees him and just like immediately recognizes him as her son, even though he looks completely different. And as a parent, man, that chapter hit me hard, dude. To like think your son is basically gone forever and then he's here again. And even though he doesn't look the same, he's still your son, That chapter really hit me hard. And Mustang disappeared. I thought for sure that Mustang was going to walk into the house. Actually, funny thought. This is so random, but I thought that Mustang was like leaving to like, this is stupid. I thought Mustang was leaving to change her clothes to come back because she didn't want to meet Darrow's mom in like the wrong clothes. That's so stupid. I don't know why I thought about that. And I was like, oh yeah, she's coming back. She's coming back. She didn't come back. Again, the vlogging process, I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoy it too. This one's going to be a little bit longer than book 1. I mean, Golden Sun is longer than book 1, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But I really enjoyed this process and hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And I'm going to continue through the entire series vlogging every single book. So stay tuned. I do have the most recent Shelf of Shame poll winner, which is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarrow. So that's going to be my next vlog. But 100%, I am vlogging the rest of the Red Rising series. So thank you all so much for sticking with me. Thank you for sticking through this long video and kind of getting a glimpse into my life as I read this crazy book. Thank you again for everybody that voted for Red Rising in the first place. Without y'all, I would not be here in this insane story. Thank you very much. I will catch y'all in the next one.